Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. Welcome to the June 5th, 2023 meeting of the Rotary Club of Raleigh. I'm John Becker, your president for 26 days, 7 hours, and 2 minutes. But who's the counting? It's been a great year so far, and we'll be last month of our Rotary year. With that, though, before we begin, as usual, I'd like to invite Tommy Keller for our invocation and pledge of allegiance. Tommy. Everybody, glad you're here. Bow your heads. Father, thank you for our time together, for the common bond of Rotary, and for the heart to go out in this community and to do something more than has previously been done. We think specifically today of folks who have mentored us, taught us, or coached us along the way. That while we would reach down and help those who are less fortunate than we are, but that we would also be there to support, uphold, and encourage folks who have done the same for us along our paths. That we would never forget where we came from or the strength that you put inside us. We bless this food and this time together. Amen. Amen. Please rise and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic that stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. You gotta sing? Everybody sing? All right, what are we saying? Somebody who can sing, please lead us off. Oh, beautiful for space, for and takes up free, for the seed of the fruit. Caroline cheerleader. Charlie, like many of us do, has a gallbladder. I don't know. Everybody's gallbladder or he used to. Quite sure, but let's keep Charlie in our thoughts. He's doing well. We sent some pictures of his hospital bed, but he spent the past few days in the hospital because of his gallbladder, I assume acting up and being removed. So Charlie, I believe you're on Zoom today. Hopefully you can hear us and everybody else on Zoom can hear. And we wish you well, Charlie, and that you get well soon. And I'm looking forward to having you at the next meeting. With that, I would like to, before we get started, though, introduce our guests that we have today, and we have several. First is not a guest; he's known to us. He's now officially a visiting Rotarian, but a longtime member of our Hunter. Well, I miss you, and hopefully everything is going well. I understand you're with the Marion, right? Marion Rotary Club. Great. And of course, we all miss Claire too. I see now, the secret boys, they're really screw whenever she come back. Okay, good. Claire was a member, as John was saying, she now has 3 boys. I see her now and then because her mother-in-law is all over down, but looks like she's doing great. We have another guest though. I met him on the way in. He's a member, rather a guest of Jessica today. Sanjay Das. Is that right? Sanjay, would you like to stand up? Yes, stand up and introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do.
Sanjay, CA agency.
Okay. Good to have you with us. Other guests we heard about as the program goes on. But we also had another guest, Meredith Dennis. Meredith, yes, you can tell us who you are and what you do.
Meredith. I am the founder of a career coaching business. I work with professionals that feel a little stuck and need help make changes, and I really appreciate Randy sponsoring me today. I'm really excited to be here.
Great having her. Thanks. And then I believe Shruti, I think our other guest is associated with you. Is that Oscar Redmond? Is that right?
Presentation. I'm Melissa Redmond, and I'm the founder and CEO of Global Brand, which provides communications and fundraising nonprofit in the area. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Please also, we have 3 more meetings to fill up the red buckets that are on your table. For those of you who are guests, the red buckets signify our contribution, usually a loose change, dollar bills, coins, or as many people these days, you don't carry cash, there's an operating money there. You can always write a denomination, $1, $2, whatever. It will be billed for it, but it all goes to the Dementia Alliance of North Carolina. And we'll have a little ceremony at the end of the year, depending on how much all these small contributions over the course of the year added up to, which would be fun. Without Charlie here today, maybe I'll ask Frank. Yeah.
Early Monday through Friday.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, $3. There you go. 120. Big money.
That's winning, you know, thank you. Why, they're taking care of it. Robert Mill and I visited Robert 3-4 weeks ago, and it was simply delightful. He said, Whitaker Glen, I think it is. I got in, but he had to punch the button to get a secretary somewhere. You never see her. She lets you in. I found his room. I knocked on the door, and he said, "Come in." And he was standing with a beautiful suit. His handkerchief, he was dressed in the 90s, as he always was. And he and his buddy Bill Simpson, we lost Bill a year ago, I guess. And he wanted to sit and talk a minute, although he was just before going to a service for one of the members, so one of the patients there. But I can't tell you how delightful he is. He wanted to know about my wife, he wanted to know about Dick's, and his comment on Dick's, I have to remind you, many of you remember this, is Dick's Park is a conservancy is the most important endeavor in our collective life. So I take that seriously. I also wanted to talk about Bill Simpson. He said this sweater back of his chair is Bill's sweater, and I wear it. His wife gave it to me. So what a delightful guy, how lucky we were to have him all these years. He turns 100 in September.
Wow. Okay.
Thanks, Ryan. And speaking about Robert, but not, as Terry said, we were lucky to have him active in the club for so long. I just saw him in the monthly attorneys magazine. I go back to attorneys and having in a booth, having lunch with Wade Smith, a well-known criminal defense lawyer, sort of the dean of them, and Wade's brother who recently passed away. But there's Robert in the restaurant having lunch with them. And as Terry said, he's turning 100 later this year. It's still on Facebook, and we'll retrieve it and distribute it somehow. But a few years ago, Kurt Warner had a wonderful program for our club where he sat down and interviewed both Robert and Bill Simpson and just talked to them. Both war heroes who lived through so many things. And we'll get that in circulating that around the time of his birthday. So it's great to hear he's doing well. A reminder of upcoming meetings, our own Reverend Patty Rooney will be getting a very special talk about leadership and the connection with Rotary. No meeting for the national holiday the following week, Juneteenth National Independence Day, and then final meeting of the Rotary year. Hopefully everybody here and as many people on Zoom can make it. Carrie Suffer will be inducted to be our new incoming president and the new board of directors. We'll have the boards. Many people contributed so much this year. Of course, the usual laser light show and pony rides out in the courtyard and added features. You don't want to miss that. Upcoming district events. If you go to one event, please come out and support Carrie. It's a fun event. You meet people from all over the district, and that's where they induct all the incoming presidents for the district. So Carrie and the new district governor. So Carrie will be inducted. My wife and I are going to join us at our table, if you will. Go to DAC TV or contact Linda if you need to know how to register. I don't know, Jean-Luc, if Eric is online or not. Eric Larson or Gary? Okay. They were thinking of calling in from down under. As you know, they attended the Rotary International Convention in Melbourne, which just ended 2 or 3 days ago. And as they should, being so far away from home, they're extending their trip, and they're now in New Zealand. And it is, I believe it's 5 hours at a day. My son and his wife used to live in New Zealand. Anyway, it's about 4 in the morning or 4:30 in the morning in New Zealand. So they couldn't quite call in, but they wanted to say, hey, give their regards to everybody. They'll be back for the next meeting with all sorts of ideas from the Rotary International Convention, and they've had a great time, learned a lot. Met people from all over the world. Having been to one myself, it's really is a special experience that you share with 20,000 other Rotarians that showed up in Melbourne this year. So we're looking forward to hearing from that. And again, hopefully for people on Zoom, the volume, the audio is better this time. We're all trying to speak into the microphone, turn it up a bit. But be sure to let us know if it's not, or we're trying our best to speak. Brings us back to Tommy, and I'll get on. We let Tommy buy one since 2 weeks ago, but you did buy tickets for good cause for around the time.
Yeah. We appreciate everybody buying tickets for the raffle because it goes towards the club tremendously appreciates that. So let's see, I need somebody who did not, Terry, I don't think I sold you one, weren't you? Pull me a winner, sir. Oh, all right,
Wow.
Let's get those two back in.
The last time I pulled it, it was your ticket.
I didn't think you'd pull it again. No, I didn't buy a ticket today, we're safe.
Okay.
There we go. Here, I'll call the mic so we can all hear it. I've got 800-198 2. Very good. Thanks, we appreciate you playing today, and I hope you spend this all in one place. You'll do. It's very good. Thank you. We're gonna sit here. Okay.
Now we move to the nosy neighbor portion of our program, which is where we interview one of our members, so we get to know them just a little bit better and try not to ask you embarrassing question.
Yeah, well, none of the questions were embarrassing except for the secret question. We'll get there. No, just joking. Jessica Cunningham is today's nosy neighbor, and Jessica said, you know, I hope that I get to do it on a week where it's a quaint kind of gathering. Here we are, so it's fun. Jessica, if you come on up, I'll ask you the questions. You can take the podium here. I'll get out of the way a little bit, actually. So to begin, like we always do, can you tell the crew a little bit about what you do professionally for work and who some of your clientele what they might look like, and so that we could recognize that we ran into stuff like that.
So, I'm a financial advisor with Mass Mutual in North Carolina, and we provide comprehensive financial solutions to individuals and business owners who are serious about making good financial decisions. It's something that we, combination of tools, using tax strategies, we come up with plans that will allow people to achieve their retirement, long-term care and legacy objectives. So getting information is very cheap, and not doing so is quite expensive on the back end. So everyone's got a plan, and no plan is a plan.
My wife says that to me very often.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we start with, so you guys know, because we talked about it up here, that Jessica was recently married. Jessica, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you met, and then we'll do a little bit about the wedding too.
Sure. So, I met my Tommy. We found love in a hopeless place online. Pandemic. 2 years later, we are found ourselves now in a home that we purchased in North Raleigh last summer, and what we share with our beloved Shih Tzu Gizmo. So.
Great name for.
Yes, the wedding, we do keep things practical and inexpensive. We had a nice intimate dinner party ceremony at City Club. And our plan to take the show on the road. I have a annual reunion, stand-up reunion in Cleveland this summer, so we'll be celebrating out there. We've got family in Cincinnati, so combining things logistically a lot easier for people to make it out. So.
If you guys don't know Jessica, or if this is your first time being exposed to her world, I'd encourage you to get together with her, learn some more about her. Jessica's professional qualifications are outstanding, and she was very modest about it today.
Yeah.
So you should definitely pull her aside and ask her about that sometime. Jessica, thank you for being our nosy neighbor today.
Thank you.
Around Jessica.
That's great. And Jessica, now you will get to appear not only on birthdays, but anniversaries. Next, I did want to report on in Carrie's absence, and just wanted me to say a quick word about our fundraising event that we had that was very successful. Gosh, almost a month ago now, 3 weeks ago, the wine tasting event that we had. And it was a success because of all of you coming, participating, our sponsors, and we raised just about $7,000 for our club as well as our foundation. So I wanted to just make that report. And again, thank you for all of your those of you who came and those of you who donated and sponsored the event. With that, I'll call up our indefatigable service chair, Richard Edgar.
I love that word. I can't say it. I love that word. Good afternoon, Rotarians. Here we are in June, and our final service project of the month is with No Woman, No Girl. And if you recall, they had a vision that no woman or no girl will go without everyday essentials and when they're in crisis or transition. So I want to give a shout out to Kathy Stewart. I went by her office and collected over 50 items her office had collected. And to me, this is an easy lift compared to the other collection drives we do. You know, you don't have to go to a toy store, or go to a bookstore, you go to the grocery store, and when you buy that 3-pack of soap, you break 2 off for you and 1 for no woman, no girl. So easy lift. And like any project, any collection project, you tell me where to come and I'll be there. You can bring it to the club, but we have a goal of 2,000 items. We're 1,950 items away, thanks to Kathy. So we certainly appreciate that. It's a wonderful nonprofit, and it's impactful, and it makes a difference. And we have another kind of additional project, as noted earlier. Dick's Park is kind of woven into the history of our club, and especially with Sarah Reeves has really been championing that. So they have a Juneteenth celebration. As many of you know, I think we're the 3rd year our country has recognized Juneteenth as the emancipation of slavery. And there's a booth passing out informational literature. And on June 17th, and it's at 12:30 or 3:30. So if you please contact Sarah, she can get you signed up on the shifts. As far as Dick's Park, we've got a next year service calendar. We're going to have a couple more projects. That's a very important part of our history. And Sarah is very impactful and leading. So this will be kind of a teaser for our next year. We'll have more of a presence and Dick's Park. So thank you very much for everything. Like I said, we are 5 days in the month, and we've got a lot of items to let for no woman, no girl. And I'll be happy to pick them up, or we can drop them off here. And thank you for all you did.
Great, thanks, Richard.
Next is our charismatic membership chair, Harrison Turner. I didn't want to mention one thing before Harrison gets going. We did have a successful Thursday social a couple Thursdays ago on a at the East Dollar Cider Company, brand new hard cider company. They have non-hard cider, other things as well. It's over on Whitaker by the loading dock over there, but great setup out on the lawn. People brought snacks for school kids that we collect at each one, so that was another big success. And I encourage you to all come out to the next one that we scheduled. Harrison, I'll go back. See you now. It's all yours.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for coming out here today. And he would say that I'm charismatic today. I was telling a friend just a minute ago, today is one of those days I'm very quiet. I got 3 hours of sleep last night with my daughter, and it's just, but anyways, we're gonna keep it going. All that being said, we are coming to the end of our calendar year for Rotary, and I just can't thank each one of you enough for the amount of work that you've done in sharing your why with people in the community, your friends, your coworkers, bringing them to meetings, and increasing the impact that we have here at Rotary. So if I had a glass, I would say cheers to everyone in this room for sharing your why and definitely growing our club in enormous ways this past year. And I'm looking forward to us doing that again next year. So with that in mind, we have 2 first readings today. Unfortunately, neither person is here, but we're going to go ahead and read off their first readings. First, we have Eric Soberlin. First reading for him. He is sponsored by our very own Tiffany. Eric is the general manager of Trio Senior Living, which is an independent senior living center here in Raleigh. Eric was born and raised in Northern California and moved here with his family back in June of 2018. He has worked with Leisure Care, which is the parent company of Trio Senior Living, for 9 years. And he was asked by the company to move to North Carolina to open Trio Senior Living. Eric has been a passionate endurance athlete for over 20 years. He's competed in several Ironman competitions. I wish he was here. I'm gonna have to ask him about this next time. He has swam twice the Alcatraz Island, which just sounds absolutely crazy. And century rides through the Death Valley. He also enjoys hiking and being in nature and loves playing pickleball with his wife Amanda when they aren't gardening. And then next, we have a first reading for Laura Bromhall, who is familiar to quite a few in this group. She's also been to many of our meetings. We're glad to have her with her first reading. Laura, it was sponsored by Tommy, and she was raised in Roanoke Rapids, Eastern North Carolina, and came to Raleigh to attend Merritt College. She fell in love with the triangle and she never left. She has since developed an extensive network of friends and associates. She joined the York, Simpson, and Underwood realty team in 1991 and has been the Northville's top office producer for over 9 years. She's also one of the top 10 producers in the triangle, the total volume that has exceeded over $250 million. She is also a member of the Raleigh Regional Association of Realtors and a charter member of the Top Producers Council. If you haven't had an opportunity to meet with these two people, please do so at our next meeting. They'll both be here for that, their second readings. Following that, can I get the Monte up here? I can't say enough good things about the Monte. You've been a member not long at all, but it feels like you've been a part of this club for a long, long time. He rolled up his sleeves when he jumped in his membership and tried to get as involved and active in this club, and just a passionate Rotarian. And it's just been a couple months, I even that. In record time, DeMonte has finished all of the needed requirements to move from a red badge to a blue badge, which instills you in a new way into this club, showing your passion, your desire for Rotary, your commitment to this club. So today, DeMonte, I have the honor of taking this red badge off.
Yes.
Once again, DeMonte's in. Last two things real quick, new member orientation for those who are new members that have not been to a new member orientation yet. Please mark your calendars, June 27th at 5:45. We are going to go have a huge party over at Tom's house. I'm not expecting what we're going to do, but thank you so much, Tom. I just go ahead and say sorry to your wife. And then lastly, to Tom's point, yes, we'd love for you to come out to the next service. I don't have it up here, but I'll make sure it's on the slide for next week. But please mark your calendars for June 29th, which is a Thursday. We're going to be at the Yard House over in North Hills, and from 5:30 to 7, like we usually are. I was thinking about today, our service soldiers are like a nosy neighbor, but with alcohol involved. So go out there, grab a beer, get to know your fellow Rotarian, and make sure to bring some snacks with you. So Thursday, June 29th at 5:30 at Yard House. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, Eric.
Just a quick note about Diamante. Every new member this year has received, in addition to the certificate and their task to earn their blue badge, a history book about our club, but also a coin, that's a bronze coin from Rotary that on the back of it has the full weight test. And on the front has the Rotary emblem. And as I learned from one of the service socials, that Diamante keeps that in his wallet for good luck and possible guidance to look at under certain circumstances. So he definitely hasn't earned his blue badge. We're looking forward to all the other new members doing so as well. Let's go briefly to the birthdays. Bill Brooke, great member, maybe on Zoom today, birthday on June 5th. Anniversaries, Martin and Sarah Wolf. Martin was my sponsor way back when, 20 years. And with that, we'll move on to the main event today, which brings a lot of us here today, which is the presentation and awarding of the Wilson Hayman Vocational Service Leadership Award. We're going to do this in 4 parts. I'd like to tell you what the award is about and its history. And then David Forrest, who nominated our award winner this year, will talk about our award winner a bit by way of introduction. And then we are, the award winner always is able to either receive and designate a Paul Harris Fellowship Award that we give, and we'll talk about that. And then finally, we'll hear from our award winner with a few remarks that we've asked him to make after that. The driving force of Rotary, as we all know, is service above self. And vocational service is the second pillar of Rotary's 4 avenues of service. And the concept of vocational service in Rotary calls on Rotarians to encourage and foster 3 principles: high ethical standards in business and professions, the recognition of the worthiness of all useful occupations, and the dignifying of each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve society. Annually, for the past 7 years, the Rotary Club has awarded the Wilson Hayman Vocational Service Leadership Award, VSLA, to a worthy community leader who's not a Rotarian. And the purpose of this award is to recognize non-Rotarians in the community who exemplify integrity and high ethical standards in their vocation and use their vocational talents in the community. Nominations can only be made by active members in the Rotary Club of Raleigh. Now, importantly, in 2021, we renamed the award the Wilson Hayman Vocational Service Leadership Award in memory of our longtime distinguished member, Wilson Hayman. Wilson was past president and longtime member of our club, who passed away too soon just a few years ago, and is held in such high esteem by each of us that it was decided to name the award after him. We all miss Wilson very much. At this time, we're graced and honored to have Wilson's wife, Jenny Hayman, with us today to be here for the awarding. Jenny, you can stand up, please. Jenny is also at our holiday lunch here, and it's nice and helpful with arranging one of our speakers. And so it's just special luck to Jenny to be here today, not only just today, but to continue your involvement in our club and to definitely keep in touch with us. I thought it might be appropriate. You might get a kick. I mentioned the holiday lunch a few years ago. Here's Wilson and Jenny. Wilson won the points yet on the table. So I thought that was a great picture of his laugh and spirit that he always brought to us. So we remember him in this way going forward in perpetuity as we award this vocational service award each year. Past award recipients of the vocational service award, by way of background, have included important people in the community, important because they made themselves so and gave so much. Dr. Knox McMillan, Dr. Lawrence Wheeler, late Gregory Poole, Dr. William Dunlap, Doug McMillan, Van Ewer of the Angus Farm, and last year, Prentice Baker of Baker Construction. This year, as in the past, we've had many excellent nominees submitted by club members. All nominees have qualities that exemplify Rotary's motto of service above self. First, though, I wanted to thank all of those who submitted names and profiles for consideration. It was open to the membership, and we received more than a handful, several very worthy nominees, which made our decision all that much more difficult. I did want to thank the Executive Review Board, who was appointed for their commitment and diligence in selecting this year's recipient. That board, in addition to me, included Cindy Roberts, Kevin Summers, Charlie Upshaw, and Reagan Weaver, all past presidents of the club. And I did want to take a moment as well here to recognize the member and board member who for the past, as long as I can remember, but at least the past several years, has overseen this whole process and really puts it all together for us. He wasn't able to be here today, but I know he's online. And I did want to recognize Mark Hackett for all the work that he's done in overseeing this whole process. And if you please give Mark a round of applause for his back. It's nice that we can continue with that and, you know, the younger transitions into some of the positions that have been around for a long time. And so Mark has done such a great job. He's been tutoring though Randy Giroux, who will take over from Mark next year. So we look forward to Randy taking this award forward and continuing everything that it stands for in the future. Lastly, the award recipient receives a Rotary Club of Raleigh crystal plaque and is awarded a Paul Harris Fellow, which I mentioned, which includes a pin, medallion, and certificate, and which he may designate to another person. The 2023 Rotary Club of Raleigh Wilson Hayman Vocational Service Leadership Award recipient has a very, very long history of exemplary service of upsell to the Raleigh community. And again, his name, I didn't mention before, was submitted and nominated by David Forrest. Now I'm inviting David up to introduce our award recipient. David.
Thank you very much, President Tom. Today's speaker is Dr. Joseph Gordon. Dr. Joe Gordon grew up in Davidson County, did his undergraduate work at NC State. I'm one of the 3 fans, I think, NC State here, and went on to graduate from NC State, and then do his further studies at the NC State College of Veterinary Medicine. Dr. Joe married his college sweetheart and NC State cheerleader, Debbie. After graduating from vet school, he went on to do large animal work in Ontario, Canada, while Debbie worked on the development of ISDN for Bell Northern Research and Northern Telecom. For those of you who have ever heard or seen the movie You Got Mail, this technology allows the transmission of digital data over the copper phone line. So smart gentleman married a smart lady. Dr. Gordon saw the need for small animal veterinary services in this area. So in 1988, he started Overland Road Animal Hospital. The practice grew, and in 1999, Dr. Joe, as he is known, moved to his current location at Overland Road and Wade Avenue intersection. Now operating under the name Care First Animal Hospital, with Debbie, they operate 3 hospitals, 2 in Raleigh, 1 in Cary, and employ a total of 140 people, including my daughter. They will soon move the Overland practice into a 50,000 square foot state-of-the-art passive house level green building, and it'll be the first passive house veterinary building in the country. And it will be adjacent to their current location. While their practice has continued to grow, Dr. Joe and Debbie have given back to their community. In 2014, Dr. Gordon and Debbie established a Farm to Philanthropy Scholarship for NC State. NC State has honored Dr. Gordon with the designation of outstanding alum for both the College of Agriculture and the College of Veterinary Medicine. Besides their leadership in helping NC State students, Dr. Joe and Debbie provide significant ongoing support to the SPCA of Wake County. They also support other causes, including the Rotary Foundation, Dr. Joe's military. Through these efforts, the board is very quietly making an impact on hundreds of lives each year. NC State then Richard Linton may have said it best when he said, Dr. Joe Gordon is one of NC State's finest. He and his wife Debbie are great believers in NC State's land grant mission. They both have a passion for students and the philanthropy, not only to be philanthropic, but to instill a love of giving in others. Dr. Joe is here with us, his wife Debbie, and one of his key teammates, Hayman. So without further ado, please join me in congratulating the recipient of the 2023 Wilson Hayman Vocational Service Leadership Award, Dr. Joseph K. Gordon.
Congratulations, Dr. Gordon or Dr. Joe. We'd like to present you with this award that hopefully you'll learn a prominent place and think of us. What David said, it's well earned, and we hope you treasure this as we respect your contributions to our community very much. The paparazzi's out there. I'll put this here for now. And one more thing. Actually, two more things. We always offer to make a contribution to an organization or a cause that our award winner holds close to his or her heart. And so this year, we are donating $500 to the Christian Veterinary Mission at Dr. Gordon's request. They do good work all over the country and the world, so it sounds like a very worthwhile organization. And lastly, I mentioned we do award a Paul Harris fellowship donation. Dr. Gordon has been a Rotarian, as you heard in the past himself, and he asked that we designate the points that you build up. I don't totally understand the system myself, but we do have Paul Harris fellow points to award. You've all heard before Patty in particular and Eric Larson describe the Paul Harris fellow, which was named after Rotary's Paul Harris, established in 1957. Many great world leaders have been awarded it, as well as people who have donated and contributed to the Rotary International Foundation. Dr. Gordon has asked that the person who should be made the Paul Harris Fellow is his 6-year-old granddaughter, Emma, which we're happy to do. And hopefully she enjoys it. And for Emmeline, I'll give it to you after your talk, but we do have a certificate, a pin, as well as a medallion for her to wear as she grows up. So with that, Dr. Gordon, I'll let you address our members and give congratulations and thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Emmeline is excited about all her fellowship. I was telling her about it yesterday and showing her pins and medallions and such as that along with other members of the family. So thank you. Okay, thank you for that introduction. Recognition for community service by an organization whose motto is service above self is quite humbling. As a member of the Night Hill Rotary Club and then later as a member of the Rotary Club of the capital city, the Rotary motto took on a special meaning for me. It's been a few years for me, but some of you still might remember high school. And I would encourage you to consider back in high school, what was that organization that made a difference in you during those formative years? The athletes, it might have been a sports team, for the music team line, it might have been a band or choir, and for the abundance of lawyers in the room, it might have been a debate club. The vocational organization, Future Farmers of America, was that group that helped find me in high school. The motto of the FFA is learning to do, doing to learn, learning to live, and living to serve. These 12 words inspired me to continue to look for ways to serve others and give back to the community. The Care First Animal Hospital motto is it begins with caring. This is an extension of both the Rotary and the FFA mottos. Periodically, I entertain a conversation with our team members about how it begins with caring guides the hospital principles. How do we show caring through service? Obviously, it begins with caring by serving our patients. Whether it's the energetic, bounty Labrador retriever coming in the door, always happy to see you, or the aloof cat that you never quite know whether it's happy to see you or not, or the loyal companion, canine or feline, either one, which is always by your side. They are all very special. Service begins with that first puppy or kitten visit, when a team member will frequently parade the new patient around the hospital, showing it off to all the team members and making introductions. Service is also during that life-threatening emergency that shows up in the middle of the day, and the team comes together to provide the best possible service and medical care. It begins with caring by serving our clients to create healthier and happier families, to educate them on the needs of their pets, and to guide them in arriving at the best care decisions. It begins with caring through service to our community, both locally and beyond. Locally, CareFirst is deeply involved with many animal rescue organizations, especially the SPCA and Second Chance Pet Adoptions. The origins of Second Chance Pet Adoptions is a very fun story for me. Three friends, Sherry Sauer, Judy Benrood, and Deborah Ruggiero, banded together almost 30 years ago to rescue animals from the Lake County SPCA back when euthanasia was a common thing due to overpopulation. They would adopt the pets, they would bring them in for medical services, and then rehome them to another living family. Three ladies adopting 5 or 6 pets every week raised some eyebrows at the SPCA. And soon Lucy Vance, who's the executive director, they gave me a call. And once she understood what was going on, conversations and collaborative efforts began. Where now almost all of the animal rescue organizations in our area work together to work on specific needs for breeds or special needs patients. This is just one example of how one-kind community service can expand exponentially. A bit further away, CareFirst supports Christian Veterinary Mission, which you were generously contributed today. Thank you. Christian Veterinary Mission provides opportunities for veterinarians and students to serve on short-term and long-term missions. Through the leadership of Dr. Wages at CareFirst, the North Carolina chapter of Christian Veterinary Missions annually goes to the Cherokee of North Carolina, the Navajo of Arizona, and the indigenous villages in Alaska. And this has been going on for over 20 years each year. In addition to providing much appreciated veterinary care to the animals of these communities, it is an opportunity for veterinary students and undergraduate students to share their faith and to begin the practice of serving others with their professional knowledge. It begins with caring by serving the students of North Carolina State University through the Farm to Philanthropy program that David mentioned. This program promotes access to an education in North Carolina State for students across North Carolina by facilitating enrollment through the Second Chance program. There are many intelligent and hardworking students in our Tier 1 counties, and these are the economically lower counties of North Carolina, who lack access to advanced placement courses. Therefore, when they apply to North Carolina State College of Agriculture, they're disadvantaged by lower GPA and consequently denied admission. If they are nominated by a school counselor or a teacher, then they are potentially offered a second chance to enter NC State in a program now called Spring Connection. To date, over 500 students have been admitted to this Second Chance program. Similar programs have been adopted at the other colleges of the university and also embraced by other universities. One of my favorite student stories is the tale of Benjamin Haley. Ben was a member of the first student cohort, what was then called STEAM. When his turn came to graduate 4 years later, Ben received an award for the highest grading average in the College of Agriculture. In his acceptance remarks, Ben stated, 4 years ago, I was not here because of my grades. Today, I am here because of my grades. Certainly quite an excellent example of how a second chance can impact an individual, their family, and their community. And incidentally, Ben received his PhD in poultry science this past spring. In addition to providing scholarships for the participants, Farm to Philanthropy students are encouraged to pay it forward when they have achieved their educational dream by serving their community and giving back to the university. It begins with caring and service to our environment through the construction of the first passive house animal hospital in the world, recently recognized by the City of Raleigh with the Climate Action Award for Building Innovation. CareFirst plans to operate a near net zero energy use animal hospital in the near future. And it begins with caring on a personal level to my girlfriend of 40 years and wife of 38, Debbie Jean, always present. Debbie provides wisdom, insight, and encouragement in all things. When I think of her role in my life, I'm reminded of the Army gentleman who pulled into a gas station and recognizing the station attendant. He leaned over to his wife and smugly asked, "Isn't that the guy you dated in high school? Aren't you glad to get married now?" No, she responded very confidently, "Because if I married him, he would be the general." Thank you again for this vocational service honor and memory of Justin Hayman. And I encourage you, as we leave today, to go out to learn to live and to live to serve, to consider how you'll give back to others in your community as you create your own unique presentation for service of self.
Do you have any questions of our speaker about the state of veterinary medicine or EC State Veterinary School, or do you have any kids who are considering applying?
David's daughter did just get accepted for the next year's incoming class at the College of Veterinary Medicine. Congratulations to Katie.
Yeah. How long have you been involved with the Christian veterinary mission?
So Dr. Wade just started to work for us. I was a little bit involved before she came to the workforce, but when she came to our workforce over 20 years ago, she is like the sponsor club at NC State. And so we provide funding, we clean a lot of surgical instruments during hospital time, and a lot of our people have also participated on our trips.
And what you go to some of these remote villages, I'm thinking in Alaska in particular, what kind of difference does it end up making in their community? Or you've not to come speak to them, but they're animals, some who are working, some who are pets, I'm sure.
So Dr. Wedges tells an interesting story about visiting the indigenous villages in Alaska, and that they have a very high suicide rate. Part of their belief is that if you die today, you come back as the next individual that's born in the community. So you have a second chance at life. And pretty much the animals up there were not very well cared for. And by going there and providing care for the animals and teaching and encouraging individuals to care for their pets and the animals in their community, over the few years that they've been going up there, they've actually seen a drop in the suicide rate in those indigenous communities, which is quite amazing.
Wow. Well, very good. Before you leave, I'd like to ask David to come up here and just so we can have a photo with our award winner with the award instead of just me, since you were responsible for bringing Dr. Gordon to us. So, no problem. Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you, everybody. And so with that, again, want to thank Mark Hackett, as I mentioned, Randy coming up behind him, and everybody else who's involved in this process, the selection process. And I think this year, the committee did an excellent job of bringing someone like Dr. Joe to our attention and to our meeting. So thank you again. With that, we'll conclude the meeting with our folder test. The things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it false? Will the film be ever mentioned? Will be beneficial to all concerned?
Thanks, Don.